Welcome to the next installment of the Quality Improvement video series. This is the Red Bead Experiment. In 1986, Dr. Deming served as a consultant to a rubber manufacturing firm in Ohio. There, he held several week-long seminars for employees and suppliers of the company. Of the many examples he would use during those seminars, an exercise that became known as the Red Bead Experiment was one of his most effective. Let's check in with Dr. Bachman to review Dr. Deming's Red Bead Experiment.
Thank you, Ramon. Let's talk about numbers. Numbers are extremely powerful. When our brain looks at a number, we have power. The problem with numbers, though, is that our brain does not know how to interpret numbers. Deming said that the biggest enemy of the system is common sense. If we use common sense and deal with systems, we end up in all sorts of troubles, especially when we're dealing with numbers. He proposed then an experiment that we're going to demonstrate today. It's called the bead experiment, or the red bead experiment. It's a delightful way of demonstrating variation. It will show you that you can come up with a reason for any type of behavior for an explanation for a number. Now, when Deming did this, he would have 6 people, a person who would count the red beads, and then a recorder. He would then make comments along the way. It takes too long. What we're going to do is modify the red bead experiment, shorten it up so you still understand the concepts but without the drama. However, you can do this experiment at home. All you need are some beads that are different colored, in this case red and white, but you could get some beans, 20% red, 80% white. Then you need some way of obtaining the same amount of beads and then counting them. So you can do this experiment in your own facility. Well, let's see how we would do this with the animals that we have here. Instead of being animals, what we'll call these are our willing workers. I might supply some of the dialogue from our willing workers because they seem to be a little quiet and I don't think you can hear them. Well, hello, willing workers. Welcome to our factory. Today what we're going to do is make up white beads. I want to make it clear. This is a white bead. This is a red bead. We want the white beads. We do not want the red beads. Willing workers, do you understand this concept? Very good. You realize our factory depends on producing white beads. Now, being a progressive company, we're actually going to train you. However, we are having some troubles with finances. So what we're going to do is we're going to have you do the work on the job. But let me at least demonstrate to you what it is that we need to do. What we want to do is shake this up a little bit, pour it in at a 45-degree angle. Very good, willing workers. Then we want you to do it again. Again, perfect 45-degree angle. And then what we want you to do is take this little standard way of doing it. We don't want to overwork you. We want just 50 beads. We have standards here. We have work quotas. We want you to put it in here, shake it around gently, pour it out, and you will see that we have white beads and red beads. I did this so that I could demonstrate that you had red beads. And in this case, we have 10 red beads. Now, this would not be adequate, and I'm glad that I was able to demonstrate to you that you should stay away from the red beads and you want to use the white beads. Now, remember, your job is to find white beads. Are there any questions about this process? And I want to make it clear. It's very important that when you pour this, it's at a 45-degree angle and you do it slowly. Are there any questions? All right. Well, let's begin with dog. Dog, let's see how you do this. Woof, woof. No, dog. No, dog. Gently. Oh. Very nice. Okay, very nice. All right, dog, you seem to be learning this very well. Gently in there, dog. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So you did not do as well as we thought, but heck, it's your first time. So we'll write down 10. Elephant. Let's see how you would do this. No, that's way too fast, elephant. You're a big animal. Take your time and do it right. That's correct. 13. Elephant, that is terrible. What is wrong with you? You may be just so big you can't handle something this simple. Well, we'll put that up here. All right, Flamingo, you look kind of flashy. Are you as good as you look? Let's see what happens. All right, Flamingo. 10. What is wrong with this group? They just seem to be having difficulties understanding. Was there something in the training process that you did not understand? We've all done over 10. We have people here that are just not doing well. Now, remember, you do it at a 45-degree angle, and you have to be very gentle. Okay, Bear, show us how it could be done. Not too bad. And again, I understand that you're training, so we hope that you get better as we go along. We all here want to have quality improvement, that you continue to get better as you do your work. 8. Bear, thank you very much. You're beginning to show that you're a bit of a leader here. That's excellent. I think for a first time you've demonstrated that you're much better than everyone else. Lion, let's see what you can do. I hear you're the king of the jungle. I bet you could be a leader here. Ten. What is it with this group? We just can't seem to get below 10. Again, I use that as a demonstration of how not to do it. All right, Chimp, maybe you can do it. $11. Well, I am your manager. I was here to train you. I now have to go to another part of the factory and train people. You've done the minimum standard. Bear, I think you're doing actually the best of any of the group here. But I have to leave, and I think we'll bring in another manager to help you guys go to the next level. I think I'm going to say that you're ready for the road, even though you haven't met our basic metrics. But our factory really needs some help right now. So make sure that you work a little harder. I think the one thing I think I could say that you need to improve on is your technique of shaking. For example, look at that. I mean, there it is, 4. Is there anything else that you guys wanted to see? All right, so we'll bring in another manager. Hello, willing workers. I see that I have been asked to come in and talk to you about improving your performance. I know that what you understand is that we want more white beads, less red beads. But I think that one of the things that's happened is that you're too stressed. You're much too stressed. And we, a factory that wants to help you, is going to help you be unstressed. First of all, we're going to put up slogans to help you. If you can take a look, we have signs all across the factory here to help you. Only white beads. Be accountable. Work smarter. Be careful. Do it right the first time. These are put out there to inspire you. We want you as willing workers to be able to do this, and so we've given you some inspiration. The second thing is we think that, and looking at your techniques, you're much too stressed. And what we're going to do is we're going to have you, before you do your activity, that you need to relax. And so before doing this, we want you to do this. We want you to hold your hand and go, and then do it. We hope that this will relax you so that you'll be able to perform much better. Okay, well, dog, let's see what you can do. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Dog, I think you need to work more on that relaxation. You've just done about the same as you did before. Elephant. Okay, elephant had 13, our worst performance. 11. What is going on with you, elephant? 11. A little bit of improvement, but still nowhere near standards. Just the same. Well, I have to say that our efforts seem to have helped Flamingo, but the rest of you just don't seem to get it. And unfortunately, I am a consultant here. I'm not going to be spending a lot of time here, and I have to go. We have another manager that will be coming, and hopefully we'll be able to improve your performance. Again, try to relax. Try not to be stressed. Work real hard on your technique, and I think that you will be able to be much better. What is going on in this factory? You willing workers, I don't think you're very willing. I have been sent in to clean house here. Our factory is not producing well. These numbers are abhorrent. Flamingo is the only one who seems to have picked up the picture of how we need to eliminate red beads. What is wrong with you? From now on, what we're going to do is we are going to get rid of the person who has the worst performance. We are going to fire you if you are a slacker, as I am sure at least one of you is. Lion, you are on probation. You need to be very, very careful. I am very concerned about you. The rest of you, let's get this going. We want to make absolutely sure that each of you is working at your maximum performance. The person who gets the best results, we are going to give them some merit pay. The person who does the worst is going to be fired. Are there any questions? None? All right, get to work. Don't do that, dog. None of this moving back and forth. Just keep it there. We don't have time for that. You need to get in there and just do your work. So forget the mixing. 3, 5, 7. Much better. You can see that having sent me in here and using this disciplined approach, that I'm finally getting some impact on this group. 7. Much better. All right, elephant. I'm very worried about you. You have 24 beads in the last 2 trials. Can you do this? You just seem to be incompetent, but look at that. 2, 4, 6. Much, much better. My methods have been proven to work. All you needed was discipline. All you needed was discipline. Flamingo? What is wrong with you? Flamingo, you were our best. What's the matter? Can't stand the pressure? All you want is that touchy-feely thing? You need to get your act together. We know you're quite capable of doing much better. You are twice as bad as you were before. Get your act together. Bear. 13. Bear. 13. Lion. You're very close to being on probation. What are you doing, Lion? Lion, what are you doing? Lion, you're cheating. You're trying to get rid of some of those red beads and put in some white beads. You're fired. Out you go. We will not tolerate cheating. Lion's out of here. I'm going to go off the street and pull in Frog. Frog is going to come in here, and even though he's not being trained, he knows that if he does well, he's going to get a good paycheck. Frog, come in here. There you go. I told you it wasn't too bad. Look at that. It's 8. I take this person off the street. I bring him in here, and look at that. Without any training and just being motivated by money, we have someone here who performed admirably. Did as well as many of you who have been on the job now for a couple runs. Improvement. Well, as we look at this, it is quite clear to me that elephant is going to get a raise. As I look at the rest of you, bear, you're going to be fired. Out you go. Bear, take your money from their paycheck, here it is, and just leave. And don't expect any letters of recommendation. Bear is out, elephant receives a reward. Well, I have to go and we have to bring in another manager because we have some real difficulties. Our factory is now falling apart, and we need to bring in a takeover specialist to try to help us develop a different way of doing this. I'm going to be taking over this company. This company is failing. The reason it's failing is because its workers are unable to produce white beads without having a bunch of red beads in it. In looking at our numbers and statistics, I think the first thing we have to do is get rid of those people that are not doing a good job. As I looked at our numbers and our behaviors here, I have decided to fire 2 more people. The first person is Monkey. Monkey, you have been very, very poor in your performances. And then the second person I'm going to get rid of is actually Flamingo. I think Flamingo, even though you were able to show some progress at one time, your performance of late has just not been very good. So I'm going to get rid of Flamingo, and I'm going to get rid of Monkey. Pick up your check. Now, I believe I have some of our highest performers, including Frog, who just came off the street and is here to help us. I'm hoping that by taking our 3 best workers, and we can see 7, 6, and 8, that you will be able to save this company. If you can continue these numbers at 7, 6, and 8, I think that we can actually produce the company now that we've gotten rid of the other slackers. There you go, dog. 9. That's not going to be enough, dog, but let's hope that the rest of the workers can come along. 10. The entire factory depends on little Frog. 12. My friends, 9, 10, and 12. All of you have, I'm sure, tried to do the best you can. I don't know why you did not perform as you did before. You did 7, 6, and 8 last time. Your performance is abysmal. And because of that, this factory is going to have to close. I'm sorry. Each of you needs to go and get your paycheck and work somewhere else. What you saw now was a demonstration of the Red Bead Experiment. There were several things that I hope that you noticed. A lot of the training had nothing to do with the system at all. When I go, this will not affect the numbers in the least bit. Putting it at 45 degrees, absolutely no impact at all. The very fact that I developed a training method that had no basis in reality to the system didn't improve things. Even though I had standards, I still had to go into the same system. And no matter what technique I have, I would end up having a certain amount of red beads. The workers had no control over the number of red beads they had. They were complete victims of chance. As we look at our numbers here, you saw there's tremendous amounts of variation. Interestingly enough, we didn't see the patterns that I've seen in other ones. I had a Mayo Medical student who was doing this with some other students, and I kept pointing out how good the Mayo Medical student was. She had 7, 6, 8, and then when the company came, something like 16. But we could still see there's variations. Some people were very, very good, 5. Others were not so good, 13. All of this was based on chance. And yet every time we had a number, we could come up with a reason as to why that number occurred. Our brains, when given numbers, will have an impact. We also saw that we were giving merit pay to people in a system they had no control over. This was, again, all done by chance. We had standards. I mean, we had 50 slots to pick up so we could count. We had a way of doing it. Again, standards did not change the fact that this was still all chance. We empowered our people by saying, do your best. No matter how hard the person worked, they couldn't change the system. You saw that people started cheating because they couldn't get the system to work. And so what they would do is when they were under fear, they would actually try to pull out red beads. One of the things that's going on with this is that there was no understanding of the numbers and how performance depended on the system. That's the power of the Red Bead Experiment. What we now need to know is learn how we can take those numbers and point out that this was in fact a stable system. And we'll do that now in our next section.
And so, the Red Bead Experiment teaches us a lot of lessons about the problems we see every day. The red beads were the result of a bad system. Dr. Deming stated that 94% of the problems come from the system. not the worker. Yet most efforts at improvement are aimed at the workers. The system developed by the top managers of any organization has far greater impact on the success of that organization than the best efforts of the willing workers. The quality, therefore, or lack thereof, of any product is really the direct result of decisions made by top managers. The Red Bead Experiment showed that numerical goals and production standards can be meaningless if the system is flawed. Further, the definition of tampering is an action taken on a stable system in response to variation within the control limits in an effort to compensate for this variation. To react to an outcome as if it were a special cause when it actually came from a common cause of variation is tampering. By using rewards and punishment, management was tampering with the system. Rewarding or punishing the willing workers had no real effect on the red bead production. Extrinsic motivation was not effective. A process can be stable, in control, and be producing defective items 100% of the time. We must improve the process to produce a product meeting certain specifications. In our experiment, the willing workers carried out rigid and precise procedures in an effort to produce a desired quality. They had no chance to offer suggestions for process improvement. The entire workforce must be engaged in process improvement in order to help get rid of the red beads. Slogans and posters are useless to the willing worker. If we did not set up the system correctly to begin with, there is nothing that the willing worker can do to make it right. In our example, management acted without clear evidence. When asked, "What is the purpose of management?" Dr. Deming would reply, "Not to play games, but to use numbers so that we can predict the future." People are not always the dominant source of variability. In our example, the variation, the differences between the willing workers, the differences in their production of red beads, came entirely from the system itself. And finally, we can use statistics to create what's called a control chart to look for problem areas. But, more importantly, we can use statistics to predict future performance. Imagine your workplace. Are there times when you feel as if you have no control over the outcomes? Take some time to discuss issues in your system that leave you feeling as if the outcomes are beyond your control. Lastly, reflect on our discussion of the definition of tampering. In which situations do you feel as if management had tampered with your system rather than fix your problems?